Can you believe it's already the end of July? I kind of can't even believe it's July at all, or with the weather that we've been having. I look out my window right now as it just pours with rain. But let's put that to one side for a minute, because we're going to talk about all of the news that happened in the photographic space in July 2023. Let's start where we always do, with new products. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, there weren't loads of new products that came out this month. Sometimes the new product train, it's got to slow down just a little bit, right? It can't just be constant loads of stuff all the time, but the stuff that did come out in July was pretty cool and actually, I think, really exciting. So of course we saw the Sony a6700. Now we did a full review on this camera. This is a new APS-C camera from Sony. We've not seen a new Sony APS-C camera for a little while. This is absolutely a hybrid camera, and it pulls the APS-C range from Sony to that kind of current generation. So all of the things that come along with that, much better video performance. You've got some lovely autofocus, some AI stuff in there. The camera is really quite exceptional actually, and for the kind of price that it is, whether you want to kind of get a proper camera, and this is going to be your first one, in which case this blows my mind how good this would be. If you got this kind of as your first proper camera, because an APS-C camera is my first proper camera, oh my goodness, the things you could do with this camera is very, very exciting, whether it's video or photo, whatever you're going to be doing with it. But also has great functionality as maybe a B camera, whether you want to use that with an A7S III or even an A1 or an A7 IV. We also saw a new lens from Sony, the 70-200 f4G lens, which is such a workhorse of a focal length. And of course, f4 lenses, as we've talked about many times on this channel, are great. They are such all-rounders for a lot of different types of photography and video. They are absolutely the lens you want. The f2.8 lenses are always lovely, but the price difference, the size and weight difference, those f4 lenses are something special. And this is no different. It's even smaller, even lighter. And Sony, of course, also brought out a new microphone, new shotgun mic that sits on the top of the camera. We tested it out. We even did a review of that. The main takeaway is it's extremely easy to use. If you don't know much about microphones, if they kind of feel a bit intimidating, you just want to get good sound, this is a great option. Pop it on there. Very easy to select your mode. There's little diagrams on the microphone to show you exactly which direction you're going to be recording. And away you go. We had a few interesting tutorials this month on Tutorial Tuesday. We had a few different photo editing tutorials. We looked at Lightroom, we looked at different editing techniques, we looked at focusing the light, we looked at editing a black and white portrait. All of these are down in the description as well. There's links to check out the full videos if you want to. But we also had a look at getting into bird photography, how to get started with that, the kind of kit you're going to need, and the kind of stuff you're going to want to do to get better at that. And that ties us in perfectly with some other stuff that happened around the industry. Of course, I'm talking about Global Bird Fair, which happened in Rutland. We were there. There was lots to look at. It's a massive event and it's really interesting as well. If you're into bird photography or really just long lenses, that is a great space to go and check that stuff out. We also had a look at the differences between the Nikon Z9 and the Z8, which, spoilers, both cameras are really, really good. I mean, ridiculous, actually. They're some of the best cameras that you can get right now. And for the most part, they offer very, very similar performance. There are some small differences, not least, of course, the price as well. But we went into kind of which one's going to suit you better depending on what you want to do. Again, links to all this down in the description. Meta also launched Threads, a new social media platform to go alongside Instagram. And it's pretty interesting. We're over there. I'll pop a link to our Threads page and all that kind of stuff down there so you can go and check it all out if you want to. But it seems like an interesting place right now. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with it. I'm not sure exactly what direction it's going to take, but I'm interested to see. And Adobe have announced Generative Expand, which actually builds on the generative fill we've already seen in the Photoshop beta app, which is really interesting. We did a video on that. But Generative Expand looks to actually make it easier to do one of the things that I like best about generative fill, which is actually expand and change the aspect ratio of your photograph and actually fill in the blanks with AI. We're probably going to do a full video actually just about Generative Expand, because I think it's a really interesting way to use that kind of technology, and it's probably the way that I would use it most. I'm probably not going to add, a plane to a landscape photo, for example, using AI. And if you try that at the moment, it doesn't necessarily work perfectly. But expanding a photo, actually changing the crop and adding bits on the side or top and bottom or whatever it might be, does tend to work pretty well actually. And you can get some really interesting results from that. And if you've just cropped slightly wrong in the photo, you've just framed it slightly wrong, right, you've just cut off your subject or whatever it might be, this might help you fix it. So we're going to have a look at that. We're going to have a look at a bunch of stuff. We've got tutorials coming up. I'm sure there'll be some interesting products. Hopefully, at least once, the sun will come out again. I would love to go and take some sunset photos, but July has not been the one, it turns out, for that. Let me know what you're planning to go out and photograph in August down in the comments. That's always super interesting. For me, like I say, sunsets, maybe a bit of wildlife. We're going to see. I'd like to go and do some portraits as well in that kind of golden hour light, but it does really rely on there being some sun. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can check out everything we've been talking about down in the description. I will see you next time, but until then, as always, thanks for watching.